part of this lesson. We are discussing in our 8th class, chapter 1, reading and analysis of maths. Now we can go to the remaining part. This is the part we can go to discuss. Reading thematic maths. We can discuss about reading thematic maths. Already you know the information about maps. Maps it can show about the places and the distance between the places. So not only that information, we can get more information when we can observe the maps. Or suppose the nature of terrain. The nature of terrain. We discussing about the nature of terrain, hilly, rock and plains. So, hilly, rock and plains, that information we can get when we can observe the maps. Or we discussing about economic activities of the people. Which kind of language spoken by the people? We discussing about the language or literacy level. So, how much literacy level we discussing? So, to show that the people's language, literacy level, this kind of all economic activities, when we can discuss the maps, such kind of maps we can call thematic maps. So thematic maps are explaining economic activities like about the language, literacy level. So this kind of maps, such kind of maps we can call thematic maps. Already before we know the information about political maps and physical maps. Political maps, it can explain about mandals, district, state, countries and capitals. This kind of all information we can get through from political maps. And next, physical maps. We are discussing about that mountains or rivers, plateaus, plains. This kind of all information we can get from physical maps. Already in lower classes we know that landforms are three types: mountains, plateaus, plains. So when we can discuss rivers, mountains, plateaus, plains, this kind of all information when we can get that maps we can call physical maps. So we discussed about thematic maps and political maps and physical maps. And before we know that when we can discuss about in that village crops, which kind of crops are grown in that village, or we are discussing about our state, various minerals are available. So to observe that minerals, to observe the crops grown area, we are observing different kind of maps. So in that maps, when we can observe, the map makers are using different kind of symbols and using different kind of colors. Especially they using some kind of colors. For suppose you are observing your village map. So map makers are using different kind of colors when those are preparing a map. For suppose have dark green area. It means the dark green indicates in that area have forest. Forest generally showing in that map by using dark green. Are using light green. Light green indicates grasslands. For suppose in that map using a light green, it means that area belongs to grasslands. Are used brown color area. Brown color indicates how much land used for agriculture. So land used for agriculture, they can use brown color. Or in our village having a lake, or having tanks, or in our village going or passes through a river, they can use blue colors. So generally using blue color to indicate water bodies. So using different kind of colors in that map because we can understand. So dark green, it means it can indicate in that area have forest area. Blue color, it can indicate water bodies. So using different kind of colors and symbols also. But suppose in that village having a temple or a church or mosque, they using the symbol like a temple symbol or church or mosque. So using different kind of symbols and colors in that maps. So this is the part reading thematic maps. It is completed. Now we can go to another part, make a population map. Population. So population, people. So to calculate the people. But suppose you are drawing a sketch or a map of your school. So to show your school, you are drawing a sketch or a map. You are showing classes, classrooms. So the classrooms, how many students are having in your classroom? For example, every 5 students in the classroom, you can show a small line. This is small line. So every 5 students you use this small line in a classroom. So you are drawing a sketch or map of your school. So to show the population in every classroom, in classroom every 5 students you show that small line, population maps. So population and population density. So what is the difference between population and population density? So population is like, for suppose the village population or district population, state population. This is total, calculating total population. But population density taking one area. For suppose in your village total population, but in that village when you can take a particular area, that is calling population density. For suppose when we can calculate 1 square kilometer, in 1 square kilometer area how many people are living, that we can call population density. So the area, how many people are living in that area. So the area, how many people are living, we can divide the number of people, we can get population density. For suppose 10 square kilometer area living 1000 people. So 10 square kilometer area living 1000 people. It means 1 square kilometer area living 100 people. So 1 square kilometer area living 100. So 100 people are living in 1 square kilometer. So how we know that? When we can divide the number of people. So population density, it means taking 1 square kilometer how many people are living, that is population density. Next part, conventional symbols on maps. Conventional symbol. Already in 6th and 7th class you know the information about conventional symbol. For suppose you are drawing a sketch or a map of your village. In your village you are showing have any temple. So in that area have temple, you are showing a temple symbol. Or have any church, you are using a church symbol. Or have any mosque, you are using a mosque symbol. Because when we can observe in that map, we know that in that area have a temple, a church, mosque in your village. Or to show the boundary of your village, or to show the boundary of towns using boundary line. And next, roads, to show the roads, Pakka road, to show the roads using road symbol. Or in your village area, a river is going from your village. Or in your village area have any lake or any tank or any stream, you are showing a symbol. Or suppose have any river passes through from your village, you are showing 2 lines using blue color. Or have any tank, showing a tank symbol by using blue color. Or any stream or canal using blue color, and you can show the symbol of tank or stream or canal. Or a railway line passes through from your village, like meter gauge railway line, showing meter gauge railway line. or a broad gauge, showing broad gauge railway line. So this all are we can call conventional symbols. Next, we can go to the next part. Representation of relief features on maps. Representation to explain. To explain about relief from down to up or height to down. Relief features different kind of qualities from down to up or up to down when we can show on maps. So this is the part, representation of relief features on maps. So already we know that when we can discuss in an area or in a village or in a place, we are discussing like hills or valleys, plateaus, plains, river basins, rocky and sandy places. So we are discussing about hills or valleys, plateaus, plains, river basins, rocky and sandy places. When we can observe this all are, we are using relief features. So when we can discuss this all, so to show that this all, we are using contour lines. Contour lines. Already in 7th class, you know the information about contour lines. Why we are using contour lines and what is the definition of contour lines. So now again we can discuss about contour lines. What is contour lines or what are the uses of contour lines? See that contour lines, the lines on map joining place of same height. So contour lines on map joining place of same height, and these contour lines are measured from sea level, taking starting point 0 level. So contour lines it can measure from sea level. So you know that before, to calculate a mountain or peak, taking the starting point from sea level. So 0 point taking starting point from sea level. So contour lines, the lines on map joining places of same height. It is measured from sea level. Contour lines is known as isohalines. Another name, contour lines is known as isohalines. And when we can draw the contour lines at fixed intervals, like 20 meters or 50 meters or 100 meters, a fixed intervals. We can take a fixed like 20, next 40, fixed intervals, or 50, 100, or 100 meters, 100, 200. So when we can fix the contour lines, when we can draw the contour lines to take like 20 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters, a fixed intervals. And when we can observe the contour lines on maps, the contour lines, it is fall, it is going to fall, it means the area is gentle slope, or the contour lines are closer, it means steep slope, or the contour lines are uniformly, it means uniform slope. It means the contour lines fall represents gentle slope, or the contour lines are closer represents steep slope, or the contour lines are uniformly, it means uniform slope. This is the information about contour lines. Finally, atlas. Already in our lower classes, you know the information about atlas. Atlas means collection of maps. So in 5th class or in lower classes, when you can observe the atlas book having different kind of maps. For suppose when you can see the atlas book having different kind of countries maps, or when you can observe our Indian country, so different kind of states maps. So where is cotton crop is more available in our Indian states, or where is mostly growing sugarcane crop in our Indian states, or you are discussing or you are observing about mineral resources, where is more iron mineral is available in our Indian states, or where is more cotton available in our Indian states, or where is more available of coal in our Indian states, or where is more available of gold. or copper. So different kind of maps. So atlas is collection of maps. Number of maps we can observe in atlas. So today the total chapter in our 8th class, reading and analysis of maps. The total chapter it is completed. Let us once we can recall the total chapter starting to what we discussed in our 8th class chapter 1, reading and analysis of maps. First of all, we discussed about what is map, how to read a map, and what are the uses of a map. And we discussed about earliest map makers. First we discussed about Sumerians. After we discussed about Babylonians. After we discussed about Greeks. After we discussed about Romans. So we discussed about earliest map makers. After we discussed about explorers. We discussed about Christopher Columbus. He traveled westwards and finally reached to US. So US is discovered by the Columbus. So Christopher Columbus traveled westwards, finally reached to USA. And we discussed about Vasco da Gama. He traveled around Africa, finally reached to India. So that is the reason we are saying that the sea route, our Indian sea route. So Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to India. And we discussed about Gerardus Mercator, his projection map. And we discussed present time, how we are using maps. But suppose to show the crops growing area. And to discuss about which kind of language used by the people. To show about the literacy level. We are using different kind of maps. And how using symbols and colors and maps. So today we completed the remaining part. Reading thematic maps and make a population map, conventional symbols and maps, and we completed representation of relief features and maps, contour lines, and finally we completed atlas. So this is the entire chapter of our 8th class chapter 1, reading and analysis of